We are in the center of Cusco, Plaza del Armas, and it's very, very crowded. Part of this crowd is basically made out of locals because right now is fin de semana, which is weekend, and also is the Semana Santa, which is the Holy Week. It's basically Easter here for the Catholic world, and a lot of the places are actually closed, and a lot of tourists, locals, everybody's like on holiday. So we made it to Cusco, and this is our room. It's a bit dark, but it's not dark yet because it's actually still light outside. But yeah, this is the inner courtyard. That kind of hotel that has an inner courtyard. And now we are getting ready to go outside. Oopsie. And just want to update you on the state of our altitude sickness. So far I'm feeling a bit dizzy. Eddie's also feeling a bit dizzy. Not something too bad, but I find it a bit hard to find my words, especially in Spanish. And I feel like there is some sort of weight on my chest, like a cramp. All restaurants, the touristic ones, are kind of full, and basically it's a never-ending holiday around here. So we chose the best time to visit Cusco when everything happens, Easter time. If you do not know,
they get a card out and they do the little singy thing, and they dress in they dress in purple. So
it's the
really
most important religious holiday in the Catholic religion.
It's like a mix of Catholic and Inca.
Yeah, I guess so. But we have to come back tomorrow or maybe Sunday because there are a bunch of churches around, cathedrals, which are closed unfortunately right now, which are heritage sites.
Plus we risk falling asleep.
Yeah. Oh, and just to update you on the situation about the altitude, we feel just fine, just a bit sleepy. That's the only thing. Like, I feel kind of slow. So after visiting Plaza de Armas and feeling completely dizzy, we decided to visit the local central market, which is full of food, crafts, and other stuff, basically anything you want. I have no idea what's happening in Eddie, as he put it. It's like a very bad trip. So I'm just gonna show you around with my comments, of course. So do enjoy. So for $1 you can get nothing, you can get air, or you can get maybe a keychain. No, but do you want to try?
Yeah, one try.
Sorpresa. They're selling you the
Excitement.
The excitement, yes. Okay. There's another box with sorpresas. They also have a lot of stones, rocks. It's rock paintings. A lot of alpaca items, hats, wool stuff. I hear they eat the guinea pigs around here. Oh look, this is supposed to bring you good fortune. Already have one of these. It is nicer mine, right? Dizzy, dizzy, dizzy. Do not move very fast. Move your head slowly. Here they give you, yeah, don't move. Silver paintings, keychains, food. I've seen a lot of people eating on the sidewalk. Ice cream, verduras. There is more. Oh, I think they closed it. I think we're
at 6. It's 5:30. So.
Okay, maybe let's go a bit more. Books. Yeah. It's a bit tilted right now. The floor, exactly what I needed when I feel like. A lot of ponchos and wool stuff, baby alpaca stuff, cap sweaters. bags. I can see a lot of the vendors are already packing for the day going home. Boots. There are a lot of local women that knit and do whatever, yeah, but not necessarily, but mostly alpaca wool, I guess. Yeah, if you want to buy like knitted handmade stuff, they're like super expensive, but here they're everywhere, so that's really cool. However, they're kind of big, so if you don't have like a large suitcase and you're traveling only with a backpack like we are, then you have to think strategically about your purchases. Basically, I think that's one of the main reasons we are walking around right now, because I don't know what I want. I would definitely love a bunch of these things. What are these ladies selling? Perdón, perdón, perdón. Perdón, perdón. Niña, ¿qué es eso?
Mate.
Ah, mate. Ok, gracias. ¿Es mate? Si quieres. No. Ok, mañana. It's mate. It's like a tea, right?
De coca.
It's coca tea. Oh, okay, they're selling coca tea in bottles. Oh, I should ask how much is it? That was the market. Well, most of it was closed, but I think you get a general idea what you can find in a central market. However, because it's a holiday like the Semana Santa right now, you can find a lot of food stalls in the main squares selling all kinds of food. I tried it before. Food in Peru is actually really good. Nobody said don't eat from street vendors. I did perfectly fine. Never had a thing, so I don't think it's a problem with that. But you know, just do your best to not eat from weird places. And now we're gonna go for the restaurant because I think we should go at 6. It's gonna be already dark, so we don't want to get lost here. However, I do want to mention there are policemen on the street. It looks and feels really safe, although it kind of looks exotic. So if you've never been to a Latin country, probably for you it looks a bit extreme, but trust me, it does look like a lot of other Central American or Latin countries, and yeah, it's okay. It's definitely okay. If you see policemen in such a place, you know for sure that it's a very safe place. Okay, we will go now. So we found a very nice vegan place for a late lunch, early dinner. And of course we started with the dessert, which is basically vegan sneakers, so enjoy, Edward. This one?
Yeah.
The food looks really good and yummy, and we also got like some smoothies. I got like anti-detox, and it has the choco banana, yeah, and pasta and teriyaki tofu para mí. And apparently it's a dog-friendly establishment, so they have their own dogs that ask to go out or to come in. Now it's like he was asking to come in earlier, the dog, and now he's like sitting at the door, probably wants to go out again. Very independent.
Are you happy you made the...
Yeah. Yeah.
You walked up the hill?
Yeah. We walked up the hill. We deserve this food. It's all vegan. Let's dig in. But I have to say that it's really nice to find a new city that has vegan restaurants. So really grateful for that. Let's enjoy this meal. This is the famous pacay fruit. We bought it 2 days ago, but forgot to eat it. So I think you just eat the white stuff and then you spit out the seeds. but I'm not sure. It smells like a vegetable or like a very raw banana. So you're supposed to eat the white stuff. The seeds are not edible. And I think this pacay in particular is ready to sprout, like the seeds are sprouting inside the fruit. But it's sweet. It's like cottonish, this white stuff. So vanilla kind of ish. Yeah, it's nice. It's good. It's interesting. I wouldn't have said this. Like, look at it. It's a fruit. It looks like a gigantic green bean. No? But it's a fruit inside with huge seeds, which you don't eat. So, very exotic. At breakfast, I found this fruit. There are a bunch of them, but I only took one because I don't know how to eat it, use it, or what's its name. What is this? They said,
Isn't it a little tomato?
I don't know, it was next to the fruit.
Oh, okay. Or a little grape.
Anyway, and no chocolate, just the jam. So, but at least they have pancakes. I really love the tradition of pancakes in all of these countries. We do not have this. Pancakes.
We are okay. The first morning here in Cusco is actually not that bad, but we are experiencing a bit of dizziness, nausea, lightheadedness symptoms which are specific to altitude sickness. And the good thing is that they have coca leaves to make tea, even at the hotel, the breakfast buffet.
Wow! This is our second day in Cusco. Well, I don't know if we should count the first one because we arrived in the afternoon yesterday. And although we are not sick, we are experiencing mild altitude sickness symptoms like a bit of dizziness, a bit of a lightheadedness, but nothing too crazy. We were able to get out, walk around, but it's always advisable to take it easy. So just follow whatever you're feeling and just do you. And if you're feeling tired, go and rest for a bit, or just walk slowly or take lots of breaks. Right now we are in the Companía de Jesús church, which is right in the center of Cusco in Plaza de las Armas. And from here you are allowed to climb one floor in the church right at the end of the visit, and you can see the entire city of Cusco from here. It's really, really nice. It's a beautiful view, and you can see the surrounding hills and all the buildings of Cusco. The ones here in the center, most of them have the famous wooden carved balconies that are a staple of the Spaniard architecture. And on the right hand side is the Cathedral of Cusco, which is huge, and we'll try to visit that as well. I have to mention that somehow, I don't know how the stars align, but we are right here in Cusco for Easter. So tomorrow is Sunday, it's Easter Sunday, so we were gonna, I don't know if anything will be open like touristy places, but we'll try our best. We were lucky to find this church open. It's not allowed to take pictures inside, but it's very interesting. And you find a lot of very interesting facts if you read the plates and observe the paintings. The way that the Spaniards occupied and tried to introduce the Catholic religion is quite interesting. If you're into history, I do have to mention that Cusco is one of the highest cities in the world, inhabited cities in the world, because it stands at an altitude of 3,400 meters high. That's like 11 6,000 feet, about a bit more. And again, you should take it easy. I mean, there's plenty of things to do and visit, but altitude sickness, although it's not going to be a major issue for most people, it takes some while to adjusting to this altitude, especially for most of us, as most of us come from really low altitudes. Like most of our home cities probably are by the coastal line in our countries. And as you can see, my brain is in a constant state of fog. I have brain fog, or probably mental fatigue, or whatever you want to call it, because I cannot remember words, and it's not just English, it's just any language. So this is the effect of altitude sickness, the symptom that it has on me, but hopefully it stays to this level and will get better in a couple of days. So that's why I didn't plan too much for the first couple of days here in Cusco. Just walk around, visit some museums, visit the churches, admire the local culture, take pictures, and eat some food. However, yesterday the food that we ate probably wasn't the best, because I feel a bit of food poisoning as well. So you might, and Eddie as well. So you might guess that yeah, when something bad happens, everything bad happens. So one of the most important tips is just to keep hydrated. Like, drink lots of water. Remember, tap water is not drinkable, not potable here. Just buy water from the supermarket. They're everywhere. Yeah, you have to take into account, especially if you've been to Lima first and you've been to like the modern part of Lima. Like we stayed in Miraflores. Cusco is a more traditional city, like the birthplace of the Inca civilization. So it's been inhabited for thousands of years, at least 5,000. And then at the height of the Inca Empire civilization, which was in the 16th century, right before the Spaniards came here and conquered them. This place was huge, and this still was their capital, let's call it that. They had buildings and stuff, and dwellings and churches and temples. Like this church was built on an old Inca temple church area. And the dwellings and the buildings are kind of old, kind of traditional. So if you want something more modern, be prepared to spend more money on a hotel. Like, is by far one of the most touristic places in Peru, but it's more on a traditional side, so don't expect too much. It's not like I don't like it, it's just that it's important to know that.
After we visited the Iglesia de la Companía de Jesús, we wanted to get a late lunch. In Cusco we found many vegan restaurants, so we chose Vida vegan bistro for lunch, which is only a few steps away from the main square in Cusco. The staff was very kind and accommodating and recommended some dishes for us since we weren't feeling great. The altitude sickness was still bothering us. The food was great and the location is very nice, with a cute view from the small balcony. During that afternoon of our second day in Cusco, we also visited the Cusco Cathedral, which was formerly known as Cathedral Basilica of the Assumption of the Virgin. It is the building that will certainly draw your attention as soon as you reach the main square in Cusco for the first time. The cathedral actually consists of 3 different churches, and you will visit all of them for the entry ticket that you will pay about $10 US dollars. However, if you want to take pictures inside the cathedral, you will have to pay an additional fee. When I visited in April 2024, the fee for taking photos was 40 soles, so another $10 in addition to the entrance ticket. Since I was still feeling tired and sick from the altitude sickness, I decided that I'm just gonna walk around for a bit, and I did not pay for the photo fee. However, this attraction in Cusco is particularly famous for its version of the Last Supper painting that features cuy, which is guinea pig, and local fruits and drinks on the table. The drink, for instance, is called chicha, a traditional maize beer. The Last Supper painting in Cusco's cathedral is a symbol of the cultural blending that defines
much of Peru's colonial history. It represents how indigenous artists navigated and adapted to the imposition of European religious and cultural norms, integrating their own identity and traditions into their art. We ended the day with a slow walk towards our hotel. Locals were enjoying themselves as it was a holiday. There was some street performance entertaining crowds, for instance in smaller squares of Cusco. On the third day in Cusco, we started to feel a bit better and a bit more adjusted to the altitude in Cusco, and we explored a bit more of the must-see attractions in Cusco. For the first 2 days, we mainly explored the historical center of Cusco and the surrounding churches and cathedrals, but now we found the ignorant courage to walk the hills. In the morning, we took our time to make sure we're feeling better, and then we had lunch in a small restaurant right in the main square. The entire area is full of touristy places, and prices are certainly adjusted for the wallets of foreigners, but if you want international food, then this is the place for you. It was okay, but I would recommend choosing local restaurants which are not right in the touristy hot spots in Cusco. Now, for the first 2 days in Cusco, we mainly explored the historical center of the city and the surrounding churches and cathedrals. But now we finally found the ignorant courage to walk up the hills. What nobody understands about Cusco until you get there is that Cusco's attractions are close to each other when you look at the map, but except for the main square, which is on flat ground, the rest is placed on the hills. So walking uphill is quite a struggle when your body is still adjusting to the altitude in Cusco.
Go to Cusco, they said. It will be fun, they said. It's not fun.
However, there's always the possibility to go there by taxi, and the journey is much shorter if you choose that option. I wouldn't recommend driving there yourself with a rented car because the streets are narrow and steep and there is no place for parking. Locals know their way better, so if you cannot walk uphill, get a taxi and you can ask them to wait for you to finish your visit. Next, we visited Calle Borreguitos, which is one of the popular and colorful streets in Cusco, and it's located next to the Sapantiana Aqueduct. But once you're there, you'll discover a quaint cobblestone alleyway. Because of the popularity this place received on social media, it's quite full of tourists, so everybody's taking pictures in this specific spot in Cusco. So you'll have to come with patience if you want a picture here. However, I do encourage you not to rush your visit so you can admire the street's colorful murals, small artisan shops, and local cafes. So then we continued our itinerary in Cusco and we climbed more uphill to reach the Saqsaywaman Fortress, which is probably the most important tourist attraction in Cusco. It is a magnificent fortress which overlooks the entire city, and you will have the most beautiful panoramic view of city and its surroundings from there. You can spend probably half a day exploring every corner of the fortress, but the best part for me, it was the panoramic view. It's important to know that you can either walk here from Cusco, from center, or you can take a taxi. The walk isn't really long, it should take you less than 1 hour. However, it's uphill and probably a lot of people do not have this level of physical fitness, or they just don't have time to waste, or they don't want to get tired by the time they get up there and have no energy left for exploring the actual fortress. And from the entrance, there's not much uphill walking except for the fortress. It's quite manageable. So you can choose to pay only for the entrance for this fortress, or you can choose to get a combo ticket which offers access to 16 attractions in and around Cusco. In April 2024, when I visited, it costs 130 soles per person, which is around $35 the combo ticket. However, in the end, it might be worth to get the combo ticket, even though the price might seem high at first, because most foreigners and tourists will explore the Cusco area and the Sacred Valley area, and will often also visit places like Pisac, Ollantaytambo, and Moray, which are also included with that same combo ticket. So if you visit 3 or more touristy sites, it is worth it. Wow, 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 wow! One of the best things to do in Cusco, if your fitness level allows it, is to visit Saqsaywaman Fortress, which is located on a hill. And from here you can see the entire city of Cusco. I mean, look at this view. We are right now standing on a hill that's situated at an altitude of 3,700 meters high, which is about 12,000 feet. And also, if you you can definitely notice that we are way above the city of Cusco, approximately 300 meters higher than the city of Cusco. So if you're having issues accommodating with the altitude, or your experience mild altitude sickness as we did yesterday, then don't do this visit, don't include this on your itinerary on the first couple of days in Cusco, because obviously if you're already sick, climbing up is not gonna make you feel better. But from here you can see basically the entire city of Cusco. You can see the Plaza de Armas, the main square of Cusco with the cathedral, the church. You can see all the surrounding hills. You can see the hill on the other opposite side which says Viva el Peru. The building of the fortress was started by Yupanqui and was then finished by his son Tupac, and that was in the 15th century. So as I said, one of the last leaders of the Inca Empire. For this fortress to be built, it was needed the labor of 4,000 people. From what I noticed, they do not have a lot of horses or donkeys around here, so they needed to drag all the stones
By cables.
by what?
Cables.
By cables. So it was basically just very tough work. Also, one thing that's very interesting about Cusco is it was designed by their main leader from above to appear like the shape of what we will call a jaguar, but apparently in their language it would be a lion. Like this fortress would be the head, and then the main city is the body, and then somewhere over there should be another structure to be the tail. I'm gonna show you one very interesting thing. Right now we can see a stadium over there and a rainbow. The weather is quite unpredictable here. We are in the mountains. I mean, a lot of countries don't have mountains this high. Never know, so do make sure you're bringing a jacket and everything you need. Like, I have my winter hat with me. Today is Sunday Easter, so there's a big party in the main square, music and everything. But I'm really surprised that the main sites, touristic sites, are still open. So tourism comes before anything else. I don't know if that's a good thing. So besides the wonderful views, is the Saqsaywaman Fortress worth the visit? Well, yes, I believe it is worth the visit, and it is one of the most impressive must-see attractions in Cusco, because it has it all. History, culture, panoramic views, and alpacas. The fortress is renowned for its massive stone walls, which are composed of huge, precisely cut limestone boulders that fit together so perfectly without mortar that not even a blade of grass can slide between them. This type of wall building is something you will recognize in a lot of Inca settlements, including at the famous Machu Picchu. Now, at the entrance of the fortress, you will find several local guides offering their services for visiting the fortress. Since there are no informative plates within the fortress, it might be worth hiring a guide for your visit, but I believe that's more for history buffs. I did not hire a guide, and that's mostly because I was filming for this video. However, I must warn you that there isn't much left of the fortress and you will mostly be staring at stones. The Incas have crafted Saqsaywaman walls with enormous limestone blocks, some weighing over 100 tons. The largest ones can reach up to 8.5 meters, that is 28 feet in height. These stones were intricately cut to fit together without mortar. Can you imagine that? I find this is one of the characteristics that distinguishes their way of building from other civilizations. The design of the fortress also features a series of large plazas and ceremonial spaces that were likely used for military, religious, and administrative purposes. It's worth noting that most of the details and descriptions of the Inca settlements are historical speculations, because the Incas did not leave behind any written records, as was the case with for example, the Mayan civilization. After visiting several Inca spots, I often heard guides saying the same things, how the stones perfectly fit together and other things about the arrangements of the settlements, because there isn't much to tell, since there is no concrete evidence of how and what the things and places used to be. For instance, in the Saqsaywaman Fortress, you will find a main plaza called the Esplanade, which is thought to have been the site of important ceremonies, rituals, and gatherings, including the annual ITINERARY festival, a celebration of the winter solstice and homage to the sun god Inti. No wonder this place survived the Spanish conquest, and it is now part of the UNESCO World Heritage Sites list. Another interesting fact is that the fortress played a significant but also dramatic role during the Spanish conquest of Cusco in the 16th century, as it was originally built by the Incas as a ceremonial and defensive complex. Its strategic location on a hill was overlooking Cusco, which made it a crucial defensive site. However, when the Spaniards, led by Francisco Pizarro, arrived in Cusco in 1533, the fortress became a focal point in the battle between the Spanish conquistadors and the Inca resistance. In 1536, during the Inca uprising led by Manco Inca Yupanqui, Saqsaywaman Fortress was a key stronghold. The Incas used it as a base to launch attacks against the Spanish-held city of Cusco. The siege of Cusco was intense, with fierce battles occurring in and around Saqsaywaman. The Incas originally managed to reclaim the fortress from the Spaniards. However, after several months of intense fighting and a desperate Spanish counterattack led by Pizarro's brother Juan Pizarro, the Spaniards retook the fortress. The battle for the fortress was brutal, with many casualties on both sides, and its recapture marked a turning point in the Spanish consolidation of power over Cusco. However, after the Spanish conquest, the significance of Saqsaywaman Fortress shifted. The Spaniards dismantled much of the fortress to use its stones in the construction of new colonial buildings in Cusco. For instance, the cathedral in the center of Cusco is one of the most notable structures that benefited from the repurposed stone of the fortress. The Spaniards saw these stones as a ready source of material for their new constructions. Many of the finely crafted stones were transported down from the hill of the Saqsaywaman Fortress to the heart of Cusco, where they were used to build the foundations and walls of the cathedral and other colonial buildings. The removal of stones from Saqsaywaman was part of a broader strategy by the Spanish to dismantle symbols of Inca power and authority and to build upon them a new colonial order. Despite the dismantling, the remaining walls of Saqsaywaman still stand today, showcasing the incredible engineering skills of the Incas and serving as a reminder of their once great empire. After visiting the fortress, which closed at sunset, we visited Cristo Blanco. You have probably already noticed the famous statue of the White Christ right from the center of Cusco. Cristo Blanco, or the White Christ, it's a popular tourist attraction which is located on a hilltop. However, since you're already in the fortress, you're basically near the statue, so it would be a pity to miss it. The statue stands at around 8 meters tall, which is 26 feet, and is positioned on a base that adds to its height, making it a striking landmark visible for many parts of the city. Cristo Blanco was a gift from a group of Palestinian Christians who sought refuge in Cusco after World War II. As a gesture of gratitude to the local people who welcomed them, they commissioned the statue in 1945. It was designed and sculpted by a local artist and was meant to resemble the famous Christ the Redeemer statue in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. I have to mention that the hill on which the statue stands is accessible by foot, car, or taxi. However, from the fortress, it's only a short and accessible walk. I recommend you do the walk after you finish visiting the fortress, as the views are amazing from the statue during sunset time. You can definitely get here on your own, even if you use a taxi to get to the fortress. After visiting the statue, you can take the same walkway down the city center, or if you took a taxi to reach the fortress, you can now walk to the city center, as it is much easier to walk downhill than to climb. After all that exploration of some of the most popular attractions in Cusco, we deserved a nice dinner because we were starving. I chose another vegan restaurant, which seemed to be highly appreciated by everyone, even non-vegans. The restaurant is called Greenpoint, and they also have a craft beer brewery. The spot is so popular, you might need a reservation for bigger groups or if you want a table during dinner.
Comes a time in life when you realize that life's too short to wait for dessert, so you order the first thing, the dessert, and of course the beers, because we no longer have a terrible headache from the altitude sickness. So this is gonna be our first beer. Is it good, Eddie?
Sunt un adulto posso face branco.
He just said he's an adult, he can do whatever he pleases. So he's gonna have black beer, craft beer with creme brulee made of lucuma and with chocolate inside. So it's great, right?
For dinner.
For dinner. On a Sunday. On Easter Sunday, actually. It's a special Sunday. Life has been good to you.
It does.
We were lucky to find a free table without a reservation, but we were only given 1 hour and a half. However, that was enough time to eat and have our first beer since arriving in Cusco. By now, we've been at this altitude for almost 3 days, and we were starting to feel better. Alcohol is not recommended if you have altitude sickness, so we've been avoiding it since we felt kind of beaten down by the Cusco altitude. But now we finally felt normal again. And this was our 3-day Cusco itinerary. We took it slow, really allowing ourselves to accommodate to the altitude. It did not feel great, and now I can understand why so many foreigners choose to transfer to the Sacred Valley right after they land in Cusco, so that they can avoid feeling sick and feeling like they're wasting their holiday staying in bed and not exploring the area. I organized my itinerary in and around Cusco like this because I wasn't sure if altitude sickness would affect us as it did, and because I had already rented a car for the next part of the trip to explore around Cusco. The other option would have been to rent a car as soon as we landed and head somewhere outside of Cusco and leave the exploration of Cusco for the last couple of days before our flight. However, in our case, that was not an option since we had tickets to Machu Picchu just 2 days before we left Cusco. That wasn't really my choice, but more of an accident because I bought my tickets for Machu Picchu too late, which in my case was 3 weeks before our visit, but that's a story for a future video. Thank you for watching, and join me in my next videos as we start our road trip around Cusco. I'll share my itinerary for a road trip around Cusco, which includes the Sacred Valley, the popular Rainbow Mountain, Machu Picchu, and Lake Titicaca.